Welcome to TJ Talks, a new series on my channel where we will be taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of vintage and classic vehicles. Each episode we'll be interviewing passionate car enthusiasts who have a deep connection with their beloved vehicles. From restored classics to hidden gems, we'll be uncovering the unique personal stories and history behind each one. Join us on a journey through time and nostalgia as we explore the fascinating world of classic cars and their owners' stories.
I remember buying this.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got lots of stories.
Yeah.
Look at that, they're studded.
Really?
I drove those year round.
So that happened 3 times.
You went through 3 ratings?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In today's episode, we actually got a very special story for you guys, and actually hits a little bit close to home because we're actually here at the very back of our property in the middle of a lot of bushes to tell you guys a cool story about my dad's very first car and how it actually ended up here. But before we get into the video, I just got to quickly mention that after this clip we just filmed here, our microphones just absolutely went. So hopefully you guys can manage. I tried to salvage as much as I could, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the video. There it is. My dad's very first car, flipped upside down on its side.
It's actually flipped on its roof.
Yeah. And here to discuss it with me, I actually got my dad here. There he is. What do you think?
Well, it's been a long time since I've seen it, and man, is it ever getting grown over.
Yeah, it's definitely in there pretty good.
Well, that brings back lots of memories.
Yeah, it was definitely quite the trike to get down here though. Like,
Yeah, we're way at the back of the property here, and it's still spring, so not everything's grown in yet, but still, it's pretty tough to get here.
yeah, I know I sure beat up my legs pretty good. So, what do you think? Let's talk about it.
Sure.
Well, first off, thanks Dad for coming.
Yeah.
This is actually kind of fun. It's really cool
Yeah.
being down here.
Very different than what we normally do.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So anyway, you want to maybe talk about what kind of car this is first?
Yeah, this is actually a 1970 Vauxhall Epic or Envoy, depending on what country you're in.
Oh,
So it was made in England, actually.
okay, so it's a British car.
Yeah, British car, but it was sold through the GM dealers.
Oh,
It was actually sold as a GM vehicle.
oh really?
Yeah. It was one of those imports that GM was doing at the time. Yeah, it's a rear wheel drive, front engine car.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a 4-speed manual.
Oh man, you're nice.
Yeah, but the best part of it, in my mind anyway, was that it was a GT model.
Oh, so what does that mean?
Well, basically it was like the hot rod version of that car at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like the best spec kind of you could get.
Yeah. So it had it's an inline 4 motor, so it had dual carburetors on it.
Really?
Yeah, and it had pretty good sway bars in it, so it handled pretty good.
Okay.
And it had like what they call a sport dash. So
Nice.
instead of like a lot of cars back then, they had this big long needle that would go back and
Oh
forth.
yeah.
They were all separate gauges.
Oh, so like more modern.
Yeah.
Like nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, and had like bucket seats,
Nice.
and it had a stronger differential, and
Okay.
the transmission were out of stronger, bigger cars.
Yeah. And it's probably a small, light car, so it probably went pretty good, right?
It ripped around pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 2,000 cc's, so 2 liter.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, back then it was rated for about 100 horsepower.
Oh, really?
Which
100
was-
horsepower.
Yeah, which was good
So
for
it's
back.
pretty good back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun car to drive, especially in the wintertime.
Oh yeah, drifting it.
Oh yeah, I would basically drift at every corner that I could find. So
Sounds
most of the time I was driving it sideways down the road.
Oh, you ever get pulled over for that?
Never. No,
Really?
I actually.
No cops ever.
No, I never got pulled over. Oh yeah, the one thing I had a problem was the fuel gauge never worked.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
That's
so-
a little problem.
It was always a guessing game to see if you would make it to your destination or not.
Oh my, what?
Yeah, gas is cheap back then, or cheaper for sure. So
Definitely, yeah.
you'd always just top it up once in a while, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was good. It was a good handling car, but it was probably not the safest car at the time.
Oh yeah.
not because of the car, but because of the condition it was in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it had bald tires, especially in the front. You
Okay.
can still see it's got winter tires on the back.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I drove that year round.
Wow.
Always.
Really?
Yeah.
You were always driving on those winters?
I never had any other tires for the car.
Really?
Yeah.
Never put any
No.
of those on?
So the front, especially this one here, is very bald.
Yeah, it just...
And then I don't think I ever checked the brakes.
Really?
I never had the brakes apart.
Wow.
And
Never maintenance them.
no. And the front suspension, the bushings were worn on it.
Oh,
So every
yeah.
time you hit the brakes, it would clunk and start moving back and
Oh,
forth.
that sounds lovely.
Yeah. So it was not a very safe car.
So yeah, obviously, it's your very first car, right? So how did you first end up with it?
Well, actually, I was only 14 years old when I
Really?
first got it.
2 years younger than I am right now.
That's right. Yeah. So I was
Wow.
14,
That's
and
pretty young.
at our school we had a program where they call it work experience program,
Oh.
and you basically went to different job sites
Oh,
and you had to do a bit of a report on what kind of work it was.
that's kind of cool.
So I ended up working at a junkyard, and
okay.
that was my cup of tea. That was lots of fun, right?
Yeah, I bet.
But at that point, I had no mechanical knowledge, no background in mechanical. My dad was not really into mechanics. He was more into gardening and woodworking.
Oh, yeah.
So I never really got exposed much to mechanical stuff. So,
Okay.
but at 14 already, I was interested in cars.
Yeah,
I
well,
knew.
first you were into bikes, right? I think.
Yeah, I did a lot of fixing up bicycles because
Yeah.
it was mechanical at least.
Yeah, you wanted to at least get some
Yeah.
of it mechanical.
So I did a lot of rebuilding bikes and like putting bikes together from different types and doing custom stuff and whatever, just on bicycles.
Yeah, but you're kind of always intrigued in cars more?
Yeah, anything with a motor, right?
Yeah.
Motorcycles, cars, but
And honestly, I'm kind of like that too.
Yeah.
I'll probably get it from you.
that's right. But I didn't have any exposure to that as a kid, right?
Oh, yeah, because you didn't have any family members that were really...
no one was into cars.
Yeah, unlike me, with you
That's
being
right.
an auto body man yourself. I'm always exposed to cars.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
different now.
So yeah, I was only 14, and so I was working at that junkyard just for like a school program,
That's cool.
and we were just basically fooling around in the junkyard and smashing windows.
Yeah. Like
Not doing
anyone would
anything
do.
useful.
Yeah.
But then my eye caught this little white car sitting there, and it was sitting there in the parking lot where they had a lot of other cars, looked like customer cars, were parked
Oh,
there. And I was looking at this little white car over, and the owner came to me and said, "You like that car?" I said, "Yeah, it's cool."
yeah.
He said, "You want to buy it?" I said, "Sure." And I never even crossed my mind that I would be buying a car.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Especially at that age.
yeah.
Wow.
So for $100, I got the car.
Really?
Right?
Oh, man.
So I had a little bit of money doing odd jobs and after school jobs, right? So I paid $100 for it, and they towed it home.
Really?
Right? They towed it to my place.
Wow.
When I got it home, of course, I didn't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
right?
So
So,
you had no experience.
so first thing I had to do was try to get it running. I finally actually got it to run.
Really?
Yeah, it was running on all 4 cylinders. But the problem was that the water wouldn't stay in it.
Oh, and the coolant.
Yeah, the coolant, you put coolant in it, would just run right back out again.
Okay.
And I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
So because I was only 14, I overheated the motor
Oh, really?
and I warped the head.
Oh,
Right?
really? That's
So
bad.
a really good friend of mine, he was trying to help me out with it. So he suggested, well, there's probably a frost plug popped out of it.
Oh.
So a frost plug is like round disc that fills in a hole in the side of the block,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And then when the engine freezes, because out here it freezes in wintertime,
Yeah.
if you have water in there, it'll expand,
Yeah,
and
expand and pop it out.
then pop it out, right?
Oh, it's kind of like a safety check. So you
Yeah.
don't crack your block.
That's right.
easily.
The problem was I couldn't find where that was.
Oh.
So by that time, then I was 15. I figured out, well, it had to have been a frost plug that was out at the back of the motor.
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up actually, I was 15 years old, and I ended up pulling the motor out.
Really?
Yeah.
The whole
So I had an old shed at home, and it had some just 2x4 rafters in it.
motor.
And somehow I managed with ropes and whatever else. A couple of my brothers helped me, because I had a bunch of younger brothers you'll hear about later.
Yeah.
And then we ended up pulling the motor out, and sure enough, the frost plug was laying on top of the flywheel.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just sitting there loose.
Wow.
So once I got that figured out and fixed, then it was just a matter of putting it back in again.
But at this point, was the head still worked or what?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
didn't even know, right?
Right.
Got water in it, and then I drove it. And then
Really?
I actually,
Just like that. You took the engine out, fix the problem, put it back in at age 15.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Taught yourself how to drive a manual then?
Pretty much, yeah.
Just going up and down the driveway.
Well, also around that time is when my dad passed away.
Oh,
So it was, I was 15, and then I had turned 16. Because I was 15 when he passed away. So then by 16, I got my driver's license finally.
Nice.
But no one ever could teach me how to drive a manual.
Mm.
But by that time, I had figured it out. Just
Yeah.
going up and down the driveway and
Nice.
whatever, right?
Best
So-
way to learn is by figuring it out yourself, trial and error. Yeah.
That's right. By the time I was 16, then I could actually legally drive it. It had issues, like I had water in the oil and
Oh.
oil in the water. It was
Yeah.
all turning foamy and white.
Ew.
And
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about what was going on.
Hmm.
Right? So that's when I did some more reading up on it, and I discovered that it had a warped head,
Oh, okay.
right, from the time I drove it before, right?
Yeah.
So then I had to take the head off. I sent it to the local GM dealership here. The guys there thought it was so cool that I was working on this thing, so they,
Yeah. At such a young age.
so they sent it off to get the head shaved, so they
Yeah.
basically mill it flat again,
So
right?
it's not wavy
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, because it has a bow in it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why the head gasket was blown.
Mm.
So they shipped the head back. I got the head back. They had completely rebuilt it.
Oh, what?
All new valve seats and the
Really?
springs and everything was all done.
For free?
Basically for the cost of maybe $100.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Nowadays, you'd never be
No,
able to do that.
I think like they were just trying to help me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though.
And then I had to buy a new head gasket. So I did that. And then whatever other parts I needed at the time. But then the parts guy told me that was the last parts in Canada. Like,
Oh.
you can't buy these anymore.
Yeah.
It's because it's an obsolete car by that time. Right?
Okay.
We put the head back on. A friend of mine helped me with putting that back on. And basically it ran fine after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
then I had lots of power.
Yeah.
I didn't have the issues with the water anymore,
Nice.
the coolant.
Mhm.
It was basically my daily driving
Wow.
until I was 18.
Really?
Yeah. Biggest issue with British cars is their electrical system.
Oh, really?
It has they call it Lucas wiring. Lucas, the Prince of Darkness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because your lights would always go out.
Oh, that's
Right.
scary.
Uh,
Random things would
Random
shut
things.
off.
Oh yeah. And then one time I even had a fire under the dash.
What?
The wires started on fire.
Just melted.
Yeah,
Oh,
melted
man.
together.
That's kind of sketchy.
I went to the library and I got a book out on automotive wiring, and I figured out how automotive wiring works.
That's handy.
So I basically rewired what I had to rewire. For example, the signal lights.
Yeah.
The original British signal system had this huge bank of relays and things that all had to click and vibrate and all kinds of stuff together.
Yeah.
So I just bought a simple plastic signal flasher
Okay.
and wired that in instead and tucked it into the dash. And that
Worked.
worked fine, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The other issue I always had was the exhaust kind of hung low, like the exhaust manifold buffer clamp hanging down. It was quite long, and I didn't think of maybe I should cut that off.
Mm.
So every time I had to go do something on it, I would back it into the old shed at home.
Mhm.
Well, the old shed had a wooden floor,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that the U-bolt would snag on that wooden floor. And every time I would back up, the whole motor, because the motor mounts are rotted right out too,
Yeah.
the whole motor would get shoved forward.
Oh, what?
And then the fan, of course, is on the front of the
Oh,
motor,
no.
and it would take out the radiator.
What?
Right? It would just like, yeah, put a big swirly right through the
All
radiator.
because of that floor and that muffler.
Yeah, yeah. So that happened 3 times.
You went through 3 radiators?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. So the junkyard where I got the car from, he always like, okay, fine, just go help yourself.
Yeah.
And I'd find another radiator out of a Honda or anything that was a similar size and shape that the outlets were in the right spot.
Yeah, yeah.
But after the third one, he said that the warranty's expired now.
Oh, yeah. No more radiators.
Yeah, no more
You've
radiators.
gone to too many.
So,
Wow.
yeah, that was it. I think the last one's actually still in there.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
Still hanging in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Never got ate up again by that fan?
no, I learned after a while.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
The other thing that was difficult to deal with was that one day the transmission just wouldn't shift anymore.
Oh, that's not
Right?
good.
Well, it had probably something to do with the way I was driving. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like driving like it was a rally car. Something broke inside.
Okay.
So I never worked on a transmission before. I was only 16.
Yeah.
So I had to pull the transmission out. Basically, we just had some homemade ramps that we drove it up onto.
Nice.
And so I had to squeeze underneath there and then undo the transmission.
Wow.
And I actually got it down and out.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know that, gear oil was still
A
thing, yeah. So I was just covered in gear oil throwing it together, right? It just all poured out onto me while I was underneath that car.
Your mom loved to see that.
Yeah, and you know how much gear oil smells.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's horrible.
So, but anyway, I figured it out that there was a pin in there that had broken off. So one of the rails that slide the gears over had a little roll pin in there.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you know what a roll pin is, but it's like a little pin. It looks like a piece of sheet metal that's rolled over, but it's like hardened steel.
Okay.
Right? It's very hard steel.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I had cotter pins.
Oh,
Right? So I put a cotter pin in and I thought, perfect, right?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't even last a day. Right? Cotter
Yeah.
pin's soft metal and it just sheared right off.
Oh, wow.
So I was driving one time and when it happened, and it's like, oh no, I think I know what just happened. So I tried another gear, and that was third gear, and then oh no, like this is not good. So I tried fourth gear.
Yeah.
Problem is I couldn't go all the way back down again.
Oh, you were stuck.
I was stuck in fourth gear.
Really?
So I had to go home like that.
What is
So I basically came home coming down a driveway in fourth gear with the foot on the brake because I was
you were just pinned.
flying along down the driveway. And the car was just idling,
Oh, yeah.
but it was in fourth gear.
And it's just flying.
Yeah.
Idling. Wow.
Yeah, so that was a lot of excitement. So, but I knew exactly what the problem was.
Yeah.
So then I started asking around, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, you need a roll pin." I didn't know what a roll pin was. So I went to the parts store, and I got the proper roll pin,
That's nice.
and it's probably still in there.
Yeah.
Like it solved the problem. Never had to do it again.
Nice.
But I had to pull the transmission out twice.
Yeah, twice.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun.
Wow.
I had a lot of big dreams about what to do with it. I was going to build a big air dam in the front and make it look like a rally car.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have driving lights on the front with checkered covers over it,
Oh, really?
like our old rally cars used
Yeah.
to
Fancy.
have. I noticed that they're gone right now.
Oh.
Like I don't know where they went.
Oh, weird.
But anyway, that was kind of the thing. And then I also even did some pinstriping. I don't know if you can still see or not, but I painted little flames on the side.
Oh,
See on the-
wait, the black line.
Yeah, you can see it better on the other side because the door is somehow laying on the ground. So on the inside, I built a custom console.
Really?
Yeah, it's mahogany wood, and I made a bit of a console in the middle. Put some switches on there, make it look like a rally car.
Huh. All right, Dad. Let's talk about why it's upside down and sitting here.
Yeah, I mean that's a story in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of the pinnacle of this video right now.
Yeah, I was 18 years old by that time, turning 19.
Okay.
I was done school, and I wanted to move out of town for a while.
Oh, okay.
So I had a sister that was living in Ontario,
Right.
and they asked if I wanted to come there for a while. So I basically packed up and moved to Ontario for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
But I had lots of younger brothers.
Yeah.
That meant that this car was still at home,
Right.
sitting here. It was not insured or anything else, but it was just
Okay.
sitting in the yard.
Yeah.
Well, they used to, I guess, have fun with it themselves just in the backyard.
Oh, boy.
And they had fun with it all right.
Yeah.
They jumped it. They did all kinds of
They were
stunts.
driving your car?
Oh yeah, all over the backyard here.
What?
And they were doing all kinds of stunts with it.
Really?
And
And you had no idea about
I had
this
no
going
idea
on?
that this is going on. I was
Oh, wow.
yeah.
You got some mischievous brothers.
Yeah,
Or I've
so-
got some mischievous uncles.
Yeah, that's right. Our property has a power line that runs through it.
Yeah.
So there's like a right-of-way, power line right-of-way.
Yeah, that's actually what we passed on the way down.
That's
here.
right, yeah. So they ended up abandoning their car in the middle of the power line right-of-way, which is
Okay.
still our property.
Yeah.
But it was visible then from the road.
Ah.
And I guess the police were called that there was an abandoned vehicle, or it looked like somebody had stolen the car,
Huh.
and it was sitting in the power line.
Yeah.
They investigated, and I was living in Ontario already by that time.
Okay.
Well, I got a phone call from the RCMP in Ontario
Okay.
asking if I owned a 1970 Vauxhall.
Oh, you did have your plate still on it, or what?
Well, the VIN number and whatever,
Okay.
right? As soon as I got that phone call, I couldn't help but start laughing because I knew exactly what happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why would they be phoning about car that I basically abandoned at home.
Yeah.
Right, so I knew something was up.
Oh, okay.
So then I phoned home and said, "What's going on with my car?" I got a call from the police saying that looked like somebody had stolen the car.
Yeah.
So they just decided, well, we better get it out of the way and out of that power line there, so the police don't keep calling. So they just shoved it over here. They just rolled it and somehow got it over here.
So
and,
what? They just, because the power line's right up the hill. Right?
Yeah, it's up the hill. So they rolled it down the hill into the bushes here.
Yeah.
And then they left it and they walked away.
What? You didn't know about that they did that?
No, they just told me that they took
don't
care
take
of it.
care of it.
Yeah, I thought they meant, like to a junkyard.
Wait, so at this point you didn't really care what they did with it?
No, I had moved on. I had a different car by then.
Oh, really? Okay.
At the same time, I didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
Until years later when I moved back here.
Yeah.
And then I was walking through the property one day and I found it back.
Yeah, what's my car doing upside
It's still
down?
sitting here.
Yeah.
Let's do some math. It was 1985 when I left town.
Okay.
So that's how long this has been here. Since
Wow.
1985.
It's 2023, so
Yeah.
it's been sitting here for 34 years.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that something, eh?
Yeah.
So then years later, now we have our own business and we have our own junkyard.
Yeah, 'cause you're an auto body man. And
Yeah.
You're a mechanic, right?
Yeah. So
That's what's cool, because you started out learning mechanics on this car. It was
Right.
your first car, and you got to learn how to work with cars, and then you
That's
ended
right.
up taking that passion even further and starting your own business, right?
Yeah, and we got into auto recycling a bit too, so we have a junkyard. And then some guy, I saw a car in this guy's yard because I was looking at some other vehicles.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, he had a car that looked identical to this one,
Really?
right?
Okay.
So I told him the story and I said, yeah, I used to have a car just like that.
Yeah.
And it was even white,
Oh,
right?
same color.
Same color.
Wow.
So it's like, well, you want to buy it? I said, well, it's no need to buy another one. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just a nostalgic moment, right?
Yeah, it's just a memory gun.
Yeah. So then he ended up selling the house, but he had to clean up the yard and get rid of all his junk and vehicles and all that. So he dropped it off at the shop and he said, well, since you like these cars so much, you can have this one.
Really?
So now I have another one at the shop.
No way.
Same color as this.
Yeah.
It's not the GT version,
Okay.
but it's basically the same car.
Really?
And in surprisingly good condition too.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. You'll have to take some footage of that and get
Yeah,
some footage.
yeah, we can show that.
That's cool.
Just so people know what it should look like.
yeah,
right?
because it's kind of hard to tell, like,
But-
it being on its roof. But
Yeah.
That's crazy, though. That's
So
kinda
if
cool.
I had a lot of ambition and
Yeah.
time, what I thought of doing is like, this is a possibility. I could take all the cool parts off this car,
The original
the
nostalgic
original
parts.
the GT parts,
Okay.
and put it on that one, and now
And
I could,
then restore the one you got.
yeah,
And then you have your first car again, version
pretty
2.
much. Yeah, yeah. Wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be kind of cool.
But I don't think there's enough time in the world to
No.
do
We
that.
have lots of other projects
Yeah.
to do on our channel.
Yeah, this is just a very cool moment of history.
Yeah, not many people have their first car sitting upside down in their backyard.
That's right. Hopefully not. Anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of a weird thing to have.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
kind of cool that we actually still have your car, and we can come back in the back of the yard and still see it here.
Yeah. Let's leave it here for another 30 years.
Yeah, I think
Right?
that's a
Yeah.
cool thing to do. It's a piece of history for sure.
That's right.
Well, thanks, Dad, for coming out here and talking
Yeah.
about your car.
Yeah,
That's
it's been
a lot,
fun.
lot of story behind it. Yeah, really cool. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was honestly a blast to make, and me and my dad had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun interviewing my dad about this car and the crazy story behind it. If you guys are interested in this style of video, drop a like and comment down below, because I'll respond to all your comments, and I love seeing what you guys think about these videos. And subscribe and stay notified for the next video we do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.